Hello Tanga, welcome to Gully Classroom. This is the first lecture. In which chapter, sir? In the chapter Life Processes. In CBSE 10th Standard Biology, Science Book Chapter 6 Life Processes. This is the first lecture taken in English. This is the first lecture taken in English. Okay, sir. What are we going to learn in this particular lecture? In this particular lecture, we will have an introduction of what is life processes. How do we determine life? How do we ensure life in a particular organism? We will have a very short introduction to viruses, life process of viruses. Then we will learn about nutrition. What is nutrition? What are the different types of nutrition? We will also look at an introduction of photosynthesis and respiration. We will have a comparative analysis of photosynthesis and respiration. And that's basically more or less the end of this particular lecture. By the end of this lecture, we will study the different life processes that help to sustain life. What are the different life processes that sustain life in human beings? The different life processes that sustain life in human beings are digestion, respiration, circulation and excretion. With that, we will close this particular lecture. Can we start the lecture? Yeah, come on guys. What is movement? Movement can be seen as a sign of life. How, sir? I am right now moving, and since I am moving, you are understanding that I am alive. Even if I am not moving and simply standing like this, my lungs will move, my chest will heave up and down while I am breathing. So you can easily establish life with the help of movement of an organism. What are the two kinds of movements in organisms? The two kinds of movements in organisms are growth related and stimuli based. Sir, what is growth related movement? A plant it consumes water and nutrients using sunlight. It manufactures food and grows. That particular movement is called as growth related movement. Not just a plant, even a human being grows from a child to a human, to a well-developed male or a female. Am I right or wrong? So that is called as a growth related movement. What is stimuli based movement? Let us say you are walking on the street and suddenly rain is coming. You are going to get away from the rain into some kind of a shelter. That is called as stimuli based movement. Here the rain acts as the stimulus, and in response to the stimulus, you are running away from the rain and getting into a shelter. Are you understanding the difference between growth related movement and stimuli based movement? Yeah? Okay, the next is, what is metabolism? First, let us break the word meta. What is meta? Meta means secondary. Bolism means body functions. Meta means secondary. Bolism means body functions. So all the secondary functions that help to sustain life in the human body are called as metabolism or metabolic functions. All the secondary functions of the body that help to sustain life in that particular body is called as metabolic activities, or it simply comes under the umbrella word metabolism. So metabolism ensures life. All the activities of the body can be grouped under metabolism because it is helping to sustain life. All the activities of the body that help to sustain life is called as metabolism. It has two parts, anabolism and catabolism. What is anabolism? Anabolism includes all those body functions that help to build molecules. For example, let us say I am hurt, my skin is torn, I am bleeding. After some time, a clot is formed over my wound, and also after a couple of days, slowly the wound heals and a new skin is formed. Here, new molecules of skin are actually formed. The new molecules are built by our body. Such a process of building molecules is called as anabolism. What is catabolism? All the body functions that break the molecules is called as catabolism. For example, I am eating food, that particular food is broken down and digested. This particular process where molecules are broken down, the food molecules that I have eaten are broken down, and the nutrients are used in the body. So the breaking down of molecules is called as catabolism. Now are you able to understand the idea of anabolism and catabolism? Anabolism means biological processes that builds molecules. Catabolism means biological processes that breaks molecules. Okay sir, okay sir. Sir, you told me that you are going to give a very short introduction about viruses. Can we start now? Okay Kanna, let us start now. Viruses. You see, viruses only contain RNA. Viruses do not contain DNA. What is RNA? RNA is a rudimentary form of genetic material. RNA is a rudimentary form of genetic material. Yeah, so viruses contain only RNA. They do not show any molecular movement and metabolism. Viruses do not have any molecular movement or metabolism. Because of that, when the virus, when it is outside the host, because the virus only contains RNA, it does not show molecular movement or metabolism. When the virus is present outside the host, it is not considered to be alive. Let me be very clear. When the virus is present outside the host, when the virus is present outside the patient, what is happening? The virus is not even considered to be alive. But when the virus gets into the host, when the virus gets into the host, sir, who is host, sir? Host is somebody who the virus is going to affect. Host is somebody who the virus is going to affect. When the virus is getting into the host, the virus hijacks the bodily functions of the host and becomes alive. The virus per se does not have a respiratory system. The virus per se does not have a digestive system. The virus per se does not have a circulatory system. But when the virus gets into the host, how does the virus eat? The host actually digests food and produces energy. Virus simply steals that energy from the host. The host absorb oxygen and put it in their blood. The virus simply steals the oxygen from the host. The host does all the bodily functions. The virus simply steals the necessary bodily functions of the host. The virus does not have any system, does not have any bodily functions of its own, but all the other bacteria have such bodily functions. Sir, but I have already learnt about this topic somewhere. I am not able to recall where. You have already learned this particular topic in your 9th standard. In your 9th standard, you have learnt that bacteria have a system. Bacteria have a respiratory system, has rudimentary as it is. All other organisms, microorganisms, all other pathogens, fungi, bacteria that cause diseases in our body have a particular bodily function, have a particular system. Because of that, you can easily counteract bacteria and fungi by giving an environment to the bacteria and fungi that is not conducive to its bodily functions. You can stop the bacteria and fungi infection by giving an antibacterial, by giving an antifungal. The antibacterial and antifungal will produce an environment in which the bacteria and fungal will not be able to do its normal bodily functions. As easy as that. But the virus does not have any bodily functions. The virus simply hijacks the bodily functions of the host. Because of this, the virus in general, all viral diseases are harder to fight against, and that is one of the reasons why coronavirus is spreading like anything, is infecting like anything, because coronavirus essentially hijacks the bodily functions of our system. Coronavirus essentially hijacks the respiratory system. Yeah, okay, let us continue the class. Okay, I went into a bit depth because I want to tell you about why coronavirus is hurting us like anything. Yeah, just to give you an analogy, I went into coronavirus. Yeah, let us get back to the subject. living organisms, all living organisms have an organized living structure. How, sir? First, all living organisms are essentially made of cells. A cell is the smallest living part of an organism. If you break the cell, the organism is no longer living. There are even unicellular organisms. A single unicellular organism will simply be one cell. The one cell will simply have a nucleus. Obviously, there will be some cytoplasm, endoplasmic reticulum and Golgi bodies that support the life functions of the particular cell. You have already learnt all these topics in your 9th standard. Okay. So, the cells combine together to form tissues combine together to form organs combine together to form organ systems combine together to form organism. Let me repeat myself. Cells combine to form tissues combine to form organs combine to form organ systems combine to form organism, and this is the structure how living beings are put together. This is the structure how living beings are put together. This particular order must be repaired and maintained. How is this particular order repaired and maintained, sir? Obviously, it is done by life processes. So, that is the significance of this particular unit. We are going to learn those processes that are helping to maintain the order and the structure of the entire living organism. Let us go to the first topic, nutrition. What is nutrition? Nutrition is the process by which an organism procures food, obtains food, procures nutrients, and its supply of other essential materials that are needed to sustain life. Let me repeat the definition. Nutrition is a process by which an organism procures nourishment, procures food and its supply of nutrients in order to stay alive. Okay, sir. Let me ask you one thing. Yeah. Kindly ask me. Sir, on what element does all life on earth based on? Very good question. All life on earth is based on carbon. Oh, how, sir? Each and every food that you take is carbon based. Really? Yes, Tanga. Each and every food that you consume is carbon based. Let us say you are having some milk. Milk is a carbon based product. Okay, sir. Let us say I am having some chapatis. Let us say I am having some rotis. Roti or chapatis are carbon based. Let us say I am having some chawal. I am having some rice. Then that is also carbon based. Okay, let us say I am having some pizza. Even pizza is carbon based. Meat is carbon based. Each and everything that you are going to eat is carbon based. The plant which is producing food from the sun, the food which the plant produces with the help of the sun, water, carbon dioxide and photosynthesis. The food that the plant produces with the help of the sun, water, carbon dioxide and chlorophyll is also carbon based. So essentially all food in earth is carbon based. Since we are eating food to stay alive, all life on earth is carbon based. Atomic number 6, mass number 12, all life on earth is carbon based. Yeah, okay sir. So based on the complexity of the carbon sources and the organism's body size, based on the complexity of the carbon sources and the organism's body size, we have different types of nutrition. We have autotrophic nutrition and heterotrophic nutrition. In heterotrophic nutrition, we have different types. We have holozoic nutrition. We have saprophytic nutrition, parasitic nutrition and also symbiotic nutrition. First, let us start with autotrophic nutrition. What is autotrophic nutrition? Autotrophic nutrition is usually done by green plants. Why are plants green? Because they have chlorophyll. Where is chlorophyll present? Chlorophyll is present in chloroplast. We have already learned this in 9th. So, green plants prepare their own food. How, sir? By taking carbon dioxide from the air. Green plants produce their own food by taking carbon dioxide from the air. Sir, who is going to absorb this carbon dioxide? Green plants. Okay. Now, chlorophyll. What is the function of chlorophyll, sir? Chlorophyll has the capacity to absorb energy from the sun. Let me repeat myself. Chlorophyll has the capacity to absorb energy from the sun. The chlorophyll absorbs energy from the sunlight, then it converts carbon dioxide into carbohydrates. It converts carbon dioxide to carbohydrates. Chlorophyll absorbs energy from the sun. This energy from the sun is used for converting carbon dioxide to carbohydrates with the help of water. This is basically photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is the process by which green plants which contain chlorophyll absorb sunlight and carbon dioxide, also water, and produce carbohydrates. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Once the carbohydrate is produced by this plant, what is carbohydrate? Carbohydrate is a sugar. Carbohydrate, once more. Carbohydrate, carbon based food. Carbohydrate, carbon based food. So, carbohydrate is a kind of sugar. This carbohydrate is not always used immediately by the plant. This is stored in the form of internal reserve, internal food reserve of the plants. In fact, this carbohydrate is stored as starch. Starch is called as the internal food reserve of the plants. Not all the energy produced by the plants from the sunlight, carbon dioxide, water and chlorophyll are immediately used. They are in fact stored as food reserve. The food reserve in plants, the internal food reserve in plants is called as starch. Okay. Sir, what about animals? What is the internal food reserve in animals called as? The internal food reserve in animals is called as glycogen. The internal food reserve in animals is called as glycogen. Yeah, are you comfortable with this particular idea? Sir, kindly tell an extra point about starch and glycogen. Absolutely. Okay, starch is usually very less branched. It is usually in the form of simply a long chain, a single long chain. Starch is not is less branched. It is in the form of a very long chain. Glycogen is usually more branched. It has a lot of branches. Glycogen is more branched. It has a lot of branches. So glycogen is the food reserve in animals. Glycogen is the internal food reserve in animals. Starch is the internal food reserve in plants. Okay, sir. Do a very fast recollection of autotrophic nutrition. And also tell me, why is this called as autotrophic nutrition? Because the plants automatically produce food. Automatically produce food with the help of sunlight, water, carbon dioxide and obviously chlorophyll that is present in the chloroplast of the plants. So hence it is called as autotrophic nutrition. Let us say you are having some tomato plants. These tomato plants, they absorb sunlight, take carbon dioxide, water, use chlorophyll, produce carbohydrates and store these carbohydrates in the tomato. Sir, what is the form in which carbohydrates are stored in the tomato? Carbohydrates are stored in the tomato as starch. This tomato can be consumed by us. So, autotrophic nutrition, that is basically autotrophic nutrition. Okay, sir. Sir, what is heterotrophic nutrition? Heterotrophic nutrition is simply a nutrition where the animals are dependent the heterotrophs, the animals are dependent primarily on autotrophs for their nutrition, for their food. For example, let us say a rabbit, let us say a goat, let us say human beings usually consume a lot of plants, usually consume a lot of autotrophs in order to stay alive. So, heterotrophic nutrition means a nutrition that depends upon other plants and animals. A nutrition that depends upon other plants and animals, usually autotrophs for their survival. Okay, you might tell me, sir, I rarely eat plants. I always consume non-vegetarian, right? Okay, I love non-vegetarian. That is fine. But remember something. The non-vegetarian that you are going to eat, the chicken that you are going to eat, the mutton that you are going to eat, the food that the chicken and mutton consumed come from autotrophs. The food that the chicken and the mutton, the goat and the hen, that it had its food from autotrophs. So basically all heterotrophs get their energy directly or indirectly from autotrophs. Okay, sir. Sir, you told me there are different kinds of heterotrophic nutrition. Yes, Kanna. So, different kinds of before that, give me some examples for heterotrophic nutrition, sir. Obviously, all animals, which includes human beings, fungi and non-green plants. Fungi and non-green plants do heterotrophic nutrition. What is holozoic nutrition? Holozoic nutrition is a type of nutrition where animals are going to eat the whole food. Sir, give us an example. You, human beings, are a good example. Not just you, myself too, are a good example for holozoic nutrition. How, sir? We are taking whole foods from outside the body to inside the body. Inside the body, we have specialized digestive system. This specialized digestive system is used for breaking the food into very small parts, and the food that is digested is absorbed inside the body. The entire process of digestion in holozoic nutrition is happening inside the body. The entire process of digestion in holozoic nutrition is happening inside the body. In fact, what are the 5 different steps in holozoic nutrition, sir? The 5 different steps in holozoic nutrition are ingestion. I am going to eat the food. The 5 different steps in holozoic nutrition are ingestion. I am going to eat the food. Digestion. My entire digestive system will work hard in order to digest the food. Absorption. The food will be broken down into very simple molecules. These simple molecules will be absorbed by the body. After these simple molecules are absorbed by the body, what will happen? The components of the food will be separated. How, sir? Sugar will be separated, amino acids will be separated, fatty acids will be separated, glycerol will be separated. These components will be sent to different parts of the body as per the requirement. Am I right or wrong? The food contains a lot of different things. Carbohydrates can be broken down into simple sugars. Carbohydrates can be broken down into simple sugars. Proteins can be broken down into amino acids. Proteins can be broken down into amino acids. Fats can be broken down into fatty acids and glycerol. Fats can be broken down into fatty acids and glycerol. All this happens during digestion. So these broken parts, what are the broken parts, or what are the broken end products of digestion? Simple sugars, amino acids, fatty acids and glycerol. These components need to be separated and sent to wherever they are needed in the body. That is done by assimilation, and the waste components in the food material are simply sent out through bubble movement. The waste components in the food material are simply sent out through bubble movement. This is called as egestion. This is called as egestion. Okay, sir, I am comfortable with holozoic nutrition. Now let us go for saprophytic nutrition. Give us an example for saprophytic nutrition. Saprophytic nutrition means nutrition that involves organisms like yeast, mushroom, fungi, bread molds. What is the technical name for bread mold? Rhizopus. What is the technical name for bread mold? Rhizopus. These organisms, saprophytic nutrition, organisms that practice saprophytic nutrition are called as saprophytes. These organisms feed on dead organisms dead organic remains of other organisms. Let me repeat myself. These organisms feed on dead materials. Sir, who died? Some other organisms. So these organisms feed on the dead remains of some other organisms. Sir, give us a good example. Okay, let us say you are killing a wheat plant. Oh my God, yes, you are killing a wheat plant, taking the wheat away from it. Then you are manufacturing bread from that wheat. You are powdering that wheat and you are manufacturing, baking it, manufacturing bread, nice bread. Okay, sir. You are leaving this dead bread on a platter with some water in it, What will happen? After a couple of days, you will notice that rhizopus or bread mold is growing on the bread. Rhizopus or bread mold is growing on the bread. This is a good example for saprophytic nutrition. In saprophytic nutrition, what is happening? Breakdown of food is happening outside the body. Sir, will I be able to notice this? Yes, you can notice that in saprophytic nutrition, breakdown of food is happening outside the body. How? When bread mold is growing, have you noticed a very rancid smell, a very bad smell coming from the rhizopus? Yes, sir. That is happening because digestion in saprophytic nutrition, digestion in bread molds or rhizopus is actually happening outside the body. Imagine your own digestion happening outside the body. Even you are not able to bear the smell of our own vomit. Am I right or wrong? We are not able to bear the smell of our own vomit. We are disgusted by vomit. Whatever is inside the stomach, we are disgusted by the content of the stomach. We are finding the content of the stomach usually gross. That is why when digestion is happening in bread mold or rhizopus outside the body, we are getting a very bad smell because food is actually being digested, food is actually being broken apart and the nutrients are absorbed by the bread mold. Now are you able to understand saprophytic nutrition and holozoic nutrition? In holozoic nutrition, digestion is happening inside the body. In saprophytic nutrition, digestion is happening outside the body. What about parasitic nutrition, sir? Those organisms which obtain food from the host. The host does not have any specific benefit. In fact, the host is usually disturbed physically and mentally by these organisms. This is called as parasitic nutrition. There are two types of parasitic nutrition, endoparasites and ectoparasites. Endoparasites are present inside the body. Good example is tapeworms. Sir, what about ectoparasites? Ectoparasites are present outside the body. Good example is lices and ticks. Okay, sir. What about symbiotic nutrition? Symbiotic nutrition means two organisms are in close relation with each other that benefit each other. Organism A gets some help from organism B. Organism B gets some help from organism A. Both are dependent on one another for their mutual survival. Sir, give us an example for symbiotic nutrition. Rhizobium and leguminous plants. Okay, the Rhizobium bacteria needs a place to stay. Okay, sir. The root nodules of leguminous plants is ideal for Rhizobium bacteria. The root nodules in leguminous plants are ideal as a home for Rhizobium bacteria. The Rhizobium bacteria captures the nitrogen from the air and puts it in the soil. The Rhizobium bacteria captures the nitrogen from the air and puts it in the soil. So, the Rhizobium bacteria helps the plants in order to get their nitrates. Nitrates are essential for the healthy living of the plants. So, the Rhizobium bacteria converts nitrogen to nitrates and helps the plant in order to get their fair share of nitrates. The leguminous plants obviously provide a living place in the root nodules for Rhizobium bacteria. Yeah, are you comfortable with how symbiotic nutrition is happening? Yeah, okay, that's basically the different types of heterotrophic nutrition. Holozoic nutrition, saprophytic nutrition, parasitic nutrition and symbiotic nutrition. Okay, sir. Now let us leave nutrition and go for photosynthesis and respiration. Okay, what is photosynthesis? What is respiration? Give me a comparison, an analytical comparison, sir. Absolutely. Photosynthesis means carbon dioxide is reduced to carbohydrates. So why is this called as reduction? Because I have already taught you in chapter 1 chemistry, addition of hydrogen is reduction. Let me do a recollection. Addition of hydrogen is reduction. Sir, where have you taught this? I have taught this in first unit, chemical reactions and equations, chemistry. So go to that lecture, type Gully Classroom reduction, Gully Classroom reduction, listen to the lecture and come back over here in order to continue this. Photosynthesis is nothing but carbon dioxide is reduced to carbohydrates. What is carbohydrates? Carbohydrates is a simple sugar. What is a very famous simple sugar? The very famous simple sugar is C6H12O6. What is the formula of the glucose? This is the formula of glucose, C6H12O6. Carbon dioxide by the addition of hydrogen over here, becomes carbon dioxide by the addition of hydrogen over here becomes carbohydrates. This process is helped by water, sunlight and chlorophyll. Chlorophyll captures sunlight and this sunlight with the help of water helps in the reduction of carbon dioxide to carbohydrates. Because here hydrogen is being added, it is called as reduction reaction. Because here sunlight, heat energy is being consumed, it is called as an endothermic reaction. I have already told you how to remember this. Endothermic. Doesn't this look like an coming together? Heat is coming together to facilitate a reaction. Endothermic. So here this is an endothermic reaction because sunlight is absorbed in order to manufacture carbohydrates. What about respiration, sir? Respiration means you are acquiring oxygen from outside the body. Oxygen is taken from outside the body and this is used in order to break the food, in order to convert it into its nutrients. Oxygen is taken from outside the body and this oxygen is used for breaking the food, to convert the food into its nutrients. What is actually happening in respiration? Oxygen, you have already learnt in the lower classes. Oxygen is a supporter of burning. Oxygen is consumed from outside the body. This oxygen goes inside the body and goes all over the body via blood. Oxygen goes all over the body. Okay, sir. Then what? The blood also contains glucose. The blood also contains glucose and other different carbohydrates. In each and every part of the body, oxygen is burning glucose. Oxygen is burning carbohydrates. In each and every part of the body, oxygen is burning carbohydrates and producing heat energy, and it is also producing energy for us to do each and every kind of work. Let me give you a better way of putting this. Let us say I have my hand right now. In this particular part, there is both oxygen and carbohydrate. Right now, oxygen is burning the carbohydrate in order to produce energy, heat energy. That is why human body is warm. Human body is warm when human is alive. When the human is alive. Because right now, energy is produced in my body. I am using the energy to flex my muscles. I am using the energy to move my fingers. Are you able to understand what is happening? Right now, respiration is happening throughout my body and I am moving like anything, teaching you the subject. So, respiration is acquiring oxygen from outside the body and using it to break down food for cellular needs. It is basically addition of oxygen. What is addition of oxygen? Addition of oxygen is oxidation. Where have you learned that addition of oxygen is oxidation? You have learned that addition of oxygen is oxidation in chapter 1. In chapter 1, chemical reactions and equations. You can listen to that lecture. Yeah, cheers. So, why is it an exothermic reaction? Just now I told you, oxygen is a supporter of burning. Literally food is being burnt in each and every part of your body to give you joy, not just heat energy. In order to do each and every activities, in order to provide you with energy. Hence, respiration is an oxidation reaction, and it is also exothermic. It gives heat. It gives away heat. Sir, where is photosynthesis happening? Photosynthesis is happening in chloroplast. Why? Because chloroplast contains chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is a necessary component for photosynthesis. So, photosynthesis occurs in chloroplast. What about respiration, sir? Respiration occurs in mitochondrial complex. You have learned this in 9th. Mitochondria is called as the powerhouse of the cell. Mitochondria is called as the powerhouse of the cell in eukaryotes. So, respiration takes place in mitochondrial complex. Sir, what is the technical name for photosynthesis? Photosynthesis is a very big process, and a very important part of photosynthesis is called as Calvin's cycle. You can just remember this. You will learn more about this in your higher secondary classes in your 11th CBSE syllabus. It's in fact a very important topic for NEET. Photosynthesis. What is a very important part of photosynthesis? Calvin's cycle. What is a very important component that is used in Calvin's cycle? RUBP. Okay, ribulose biphosphate. What is RUBP? Ribulose biphosphate. It is used in order to capture hydrogen. Here hydrogen needs to be captured. Capture of hydrogen is done by RUBP. Calvin cycle. It's a beautiful process. Anyway, let me tell you what is the technical name for respiration. Respiration means you are producing energy. It is done in mitochondrial complex in eukaryotes. It is also called as tricarboxylic cycle, Krebs cycle, or citric acid cycle. That is also an important topic for NEET. Okay, sir. Now I have an idea of what is photosynthesis and what is respiration. I understand why photosynthesis is reduction and endothermic. I understand why respiration is oxidation and exothermic. Now, kindly teach me about simple unicellular organisms. How is life processes handled in simple unicellular organisms? In simple unicellular organisms, all the life processes are handled or completed within the same cell. How, sir? By simple diffusion. Sir, kindly recall, give me a recollection of what is diffusion. Diffusion means simply molecules are moving from a place of higher concentration to a place of lower concentration. Let me repeat myself. Diffusion means molecules are moving from a place of higher concentration to a place of lower concentration. Give me an example, sir. Let us say you are using scent. Now, my armpits have become a higher concentration of scent or deodorant. Let us say somebody is going some 5 feet away from me. They have a low concentration of scent. So, what is the scent molecules? What is the deodorant molecules doing? They are literally traveling from a place of higher concentration to a place of lower concentration. This is basically called as diffusion. Diffusion is a very slow process. In a single cell organism, all the life processes can obviously be done by diffusion, but it is not possible in a complex organism. Why, sir? A complex organism like human beings need a lot of oxygen. We have so many working systems. I have a respiratory system, I have a digestive system, I have a excretory system, I have a complete nervous system. Yeah. So all these systems need so much oxygen. Right now, oxygen is burning the food in each and every part of my body and giving you energy. Is burning the food in each and every part of my body and giving you energy. So oxygen demand in multicellular organisms is very high and the diffusion speed is very low. Okay, sir. In unicellular organisms, the organism itself is in direct contact with the air. Let us say this is the unicellular organism. This unicellular organism is in direct contact with the air. It's in direct contact with the external environment. But multicellular organisms, they are very complex. They have cells. The cells are combining together to form tissues. Tissues combine together to form organs. Organs combine together to form organ systems. Organ systems combine together to form organism. organism. So they are basically complex. It is not easy for a multicellular organism to get the needed oxygen because its system is too complex. In order to facilitate the multicellular organism to be alive, we have separate systems. Come on, multicellular organisms are very complex. Diffusion is very slow. Our oxygen demand is very high. Diffusion is very, very slow. Our oxygen demand is very, very high. So we need a separate system for what, sir? Digestion, respiration, circulation and excretion. So digestion, circulation, respiration and excretion are basically the 4 different life processes that sustain our life, that help an organism to be alive. Digestion, respiration, circulation and excretion help an organism to be alive. So energy is needed to maintain the order in the body and to grow, develop and synthesize protein and other substances that are obtained from food. This energy must be used to keep our body alive. Even if you are not doing anything and simply sitting, energy is consumed by the body to keep you alive. Yeah, let's say you are having breakfast, you are not working, you are simply resting, you are simply sleeping. Even then, after some time, after some 5 or 6 hours, you will feel hungry. Why? Energy has been consumed by your body in order to keep you alive. Digestion is continuously happening. Food is always getting digested in our body. Respiration, breathing is always happening. Circulation, blood is always flowing through our body. Even if you are not working, excretion is also regularly happening. So digestion, respiration, circulation, excretion are the body functions that are life process that are needed to keep an organism alive. That is basically the end of this lecture. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this lecture. I had so much fun taking classes to you guys. If you like our lecture, obviously subscribe to our channel, click the bell icon, recommend our channel to your friends. Why, sir? We are going to have so much fun learning biology, learning physics, learning chemistry, learning mathematics in our channel this year. So come on, let us share the fun with everyone. Cheers and thank you. Bye, Kana.